You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Oh, in this episode, the music's fast and way too loud. Oh, but I'm sure Brandon will fix that episode. This is Apathetic Enthusiasm. Oh, audio.
Oh my God,
audio
that was great.
Editing.
That's
Did
your
It's
your live audio editing is just getting superb.
So I wanna break
Production.
down. I want to break down for the listener. Welcome to the show. Exactly how I am going about producing the top-notch live audio that everybody gets to hear at twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. I have VLC Media Player open with three files. I've got the intro music that we play before we actually go live, like when people are filtering in right into the stream.
Of course.
And then I have one file that has interdimensional RSS music, intro music, but you have Matt saying "you asked for it" at the beginning of that. So I have to hit play on that to get the "you asked for it" piece, and then I have to hit stop. And then I click the next file, which is intro outro music (1.wave) that is been kicking around on my computer for the last few years. And
forever.
No fading, no board, just straight into the high quality. What? What's wrong? Can you hear people?
No. Yeah, it's a different world over here in the Cruz household. Completely new house.
Yeah, you've upgraded. Look at you.
I've upgraded. Completely new house, and different kind of inflection, echoes and sound reflection off the walls and stuff like that, and also people in the neighborhood making noise and yelling at their kids. That type of stuff.
So here's what everybody needs to know. If you're watching live, Brandon is joining me via his cell phone.
Satellite.
He does not yet have commercial internet, and we'll discuss that a little bit more here in a bit. But yeah, so he's like got this weird juxtaposed angle. He's apparently regained the gift of sight because he doesn't need glasses anymore.
This iPhone camera, let me tell you, I have my glasses on, and I'm like, God, these glasses are really, like, sometimes I look good in the glasses, and then other times I'm like, oh no, I don't like these on.
And then
so I'm back and forth on them. So I just took them off because it was annoying me.
And then like the professional roadcaster microphone in front of you, if you're watching on video, it feels just like a prop, like set dressing, because you get that high quality iPhone audio coming through. But it's okay.
Yeah.
The audio listeners won't know the difference, and that's
it's like when you watch like Seth Meyers or something on TV, right? They always have a condenser mic like right on the desk with them. That's not plugged into anything. It's there for show purely.
Yeah, have you ever watched, or does your kid watch the Dude Perfect guys? No,
I don't think so.
No, Dude Perfect.
I don't think so.
They have a show where they all sit at like a desk, and all have microphones that are clearly fake. They're not plugged. It's just 100% a prop that they knock over and do all kinds of stuff. Anyway, this is a real microphone. These are real microphones. This
is
nothing.
Video fake. People, this is a real microphone that I'm talking into. But this is going to my computer, right? Yeah. We are really just doing what we can to get a good quality sound out to the show. We
are grasping at straws to make this show possible, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have any advice about how we can make the show even a little bit better, then make sure to hit us up on social media. You can find us on Twitter at Apathusiast. I'm at Jogomino. He is at Barnyard Cruise. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/apathetic enthusiasm show. Send us emails at apatheticenthusiasmshow@gmail.com, or follow us on Instagram, apathetic_enthusiasm. This show, other podcasts, some of the best on the web, available at apatheticenthusiasm.com. As I mentioned earlier, we are streaming live on Twitch, twitch.tv/apatheticenthusiasm, or you can catch video versions of the show after the fact over at youtube.com/apatheticenthusiasm. And then finally, we have a Patreon. Go to Patreon, patreon.com/apatheticenthusiasm. Support the show. I like in the middle of the night sent a message to Brandon about a new Patreon perk that we're working on as we enter into Rick and Morty season. He's got a puzzled face, like maybe he doesn't remember me asking him about that.
Well, no, I remember you asking about that. But when you say middle of the night, I'm thinking like 1, 2 in the morning for me, not for my time, because we're swapping.
It was like
right?
7 p.m. for you, I think.
yeah. In the middle of the night, 6:15.
6:45 in the afternoon. Yeah, exactly, middle of the night.
I remember that. I remember that. I'm just really used to being an hour ahead of you, not 2 behind.
And now you're so far behind me that we have to push the show recordings later. We're now live at 10 p.m. Eastern.
I know. I'm sorry. Except for those on the West Coast.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, you can be our best friends again.
Yeah, they're like, the show's in prime time now. It's perfect.
Yeah, this is good. I ate dinner. I had time to eat dinner and get off of work. No wonder people didn't show up, for 9 o'clock streams, because they were still at work in traffic.
Always rushing to get out of work. They're like, I gotta catch that interdimensional RSS stream. Yeah.
Who knew? But now we know.
And that's half the battle, really. All right. Well, so you're getting settled in. I mean, we hinted at the whole internet situation. Do you want to talk to that debacle at all? How are you feeling about your internet right now?
I'm feeling a little bit better about my internet.
I didn't talk to Cox. 7 stages of grief yet with internet.
I think it's important to define the 7 stages of internet grief.
Yeah, right? So, like, it starts with the Cox Communications representative calling you and being like, "Yes, hello, Mr. Cruz. Thank you for calling. It looks like coverage in your area will not be available from 4 to 6 weeks."
Oh no, it wasn't even that. It's not even that clear. Not even that clear. As a matter of fact, I might stop recording this right now just so I can talk to the Cox representative. So here's what happened. Right, we move in. We sign the lease on this new place, and we get our home goods. They get moved in, and even before the home goods move in, the weekend before the home goods move in, I go online, I go to Cox, I find out which cable providers are here, and I sign up for Cox Communications Giga Blast Internet. I'm like, I told Chelsea, hey, we're gonna get Giga Blast Internet, and she says, okay. I'm like, good. She didn't ask how much it was, and then cool. Well, they're gonna it's like easy setup. So for easy setup, what they do is they send you the router, this panoramic Wi-Fi router is what they call it. I didn't want to pay for my own router yet. I may down the line, right? Yeah. But easy setup, cool. Just send me the modem / router. I'll hook it up to a coax cable in my house, and easy. So that is due to be shipped on Wednesday. Tuesday, my home goods come in. Wednesday, we start unpacking stuff and get the router in. Whoa! All right, I go to plug it in. Plug it in. I plug it into the first coax. Do the quick setup. No connection. Okay, well, there's multiple coax connections inside the house. I'll try all of them. There's 5 of them by my count. I try all 5 of them. Nothing. Okay. I go on customer service online. the Cox folks, and they're like, okay, well, we'll activate your service. Now let's go ahead and try to plug it into those coax cables again. I'm like, okay, all 5 of them again, and nothing. They're like, oh, okay, well, we'll have to send a technician out there to look at the connection. Say, great. When can that happen? Friday morning at 8 a.m, between 8 and 10. Like, all right, perfect. Although I'll be at work and I won't have my phone on me, my wife will be there. It'll be peachy keen, right? And when I get home from work, I'll just like walk into the front door, just get giga blasted in the face with ones and zeros. It's going to be
basking in this like ethereal light of Wi-Fi. Just like ones and zeros will be just like permeating off of your body. It'll be perfect.
Yeah, so perfect. All those bits and bytes and not a whole lot of jabbering.
Yeah,
you don't not collisions.
It's just blonde, brunette, redhead. It's just.
Yeah, I was about to go into a Matrix joke too. So thank you.
Yep.
And so then the technician comes. He's here for, I guess, this is what Chelsea tells me, like, 10, 15 minutes. And what he tells her is the coax to your house has been cut. And in order to get the internet, the underground team for Cox has to come to the house and reinstall the cable. And that takes, and he told her 5 business days, right? Well, he's told her 5 business days. What I did when I was on the way, when she told me, I called her and she's like, oh yeah, Cox says we're not going to have internet for 5 days. And I was like, oh, come on. So I called up Cox immediately and I was like, hey, what's the status on this? The technician said he put a work order in for the underground team. Is there any way to expedite this, or how long is it actually going to take? And the technician on the phone said, I'm asking how long it'll take. I don't really know normally. He checks a couple things, talks to the supervisor, that whole spiel. He gets back and he said, they're telling me it could take up to 4 to 6 weeks. And at that point in time, I was pretty calm, right? Just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
and he said 4 to 6 weeks.
Because you heard 4 to 6 days, and you're like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm like, 4 to 6 weeks? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm told. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for your help. If you can just make sure that's expedited, thank you.
The world's nicest Cox internet customer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I want to. It's not his fault. If it was his fault, then I would have been different. But all right, I get home and I immediately start looking at other internet providers.
You start digging up the fiber, like the cable to your house. You're like,
yeah, there's that part of it. There's no other internet providers. It's Cox and DirecTV, and 25 meg up and down. That's what I would use if I used the Cox Wi-Fi hotspot that's right outside my house, which is a source of internet. You have to be a subscriber to use it, but it's still public internet, right? And
yeah.
I don't feel totally safe. Like I'm on my cell instead of Cox Wi-Fi right now. Anyway, okay. So all weekend I would poke them again, Cox, and be like, "Hey, is there any update to that status of the recorder?" I haven't done it today though, so I need to do that
every 30 minutes. Just hey, it's me again. Just wanting to know how we're coming.
Just checking. I did go. So I went in the garage yesterday because Chelsea said in the garage the technician showed where it was cut. So there are two pieces of conduit that come up from the ground with coax cables coming out of them. One of those pieces of conduit has a cable that is cut coming out of it. The other piece of conduit has a coax cable coming out of it, going up into a junction box. And in that junction box, there is more coax that goes into the rest of my house. Now, I'm not a Cox employee, and so I can't say which piece of cable goes to which service of internet. But I know that Cox is the only internet company that services my neighborhood. So where does the piece of coax go that is currently connected to my house?
Yeah.
And why didn't you troubleshoot that more? I know how hard it is to run cable through conduit. It's a pain in the butt, but it doesn't take 4 to 6 weeks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come on, Cox.
Hook
me up here.
I want you to be reassured in the fact that my next door neighbors who just moved in, it looks like they have gone with Cox for their home internet, and
Okay.
they have a wire coming out of the side of their house between our two houses up onto our fence and draped all the way across my backyard fence along the top and then into a Cox Communications terminal somewhere out in the backyard somewhere. So I'm assuming not 4 to 6 weeks did they wait for that. They just have cable out in the elements waiting to be buried, I'm assuming.
I heard from the maintenance people. Well, Chelsea heard from the maintenance people because the maintenance guy was there that same Friday, and he was saying that sometimes the Cox comes out and does exactly what you're talking about. It's just like runs cable over fences and stuff like that. And I was like, I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Give me my gigablast. Give me my gigablast.
Well, I hope. I hope desperately that they're able to service your community as quickly as possible, because Rick and Morty comes out in a month, and time is of the essence.
We've got important stuff to prepare for that for Rick and Morty coming out.
I
need that, and I will for the important stuff that we're trying to do. I will go to my in-laws.
There you go. Just unpack your green screen and bring it over there, and then we'll just set it up.
I'll take a picture of this.
Perfect. I'll send you the picture of my old office, and it could be like you're recording from my old studio. Yeah, there you go.
Deal.
So I was looking at a spreadsheet of dates, and it looks like obviously since Rick and Morty's been off the air, we've been alternating weeks: Apathetic Enthusiasm, Interdimensional RSS. Next week would be a Rick and Morty podcast, but then like we've only got a couple weeks leading up from there to the brand new season of Rick and Morty. We may not even be able to fit another Apathetic Enthusiasm in for a while. We might have to ride that Rick and Morty train all the way into like September.
That's true.
Depending on how frequently those episodes come out.
I'm sure. I'm knowing that it's going to be all 10 episodes, and they release all 10 episode titles. I think there's probably still going to be a like 4th of July weekend break. Probably, like something small like that. We got Memorial Day this week. That was dumb. I don't know why I brought Memorial Day up. But just shows usually don't go on the holiday week.
Talk about American holidays.
Bastille Day. I don't know if Rick and Morty's on Bastille. So there might be a break for Apathetic Enthusiasm. We don't know, sure. But let's not count on it. The next week, have you talked to the guest already to confirm a date and time for that?
No, we need to reach out and confirm that.
All right, I will
really soon.
Since I live out here, maybe I should just go to his house and be like, you want to record right now?
Bring your stuff over to his house and see if you can use his internet.
Yeah. Good call. Well, enough of that. Let's make this Apathetic Enthusiasm the last in a while. Let's let it be a good one. Yeah. What do we want to talk about today, Travis?
Clearly, we want to spend 20 minutes talking about home internet connections. Actually, so this is possibly an episode that some of our listeners have sort of been asking for a while. We're going to talk a little bit about the time-honored traditional art style that is anime. uh,
Anime.
anime, right? So,
Uh-huh.
I know that we've gotten viewers in the past that have recommended different anime content,
Beast
B
stars.
stars. Yeah, I work with plenty of people who that's almost the only genre of film or TV that they watch. But it's never really been a style that I gravitated towards. You've watched Dragon Ball and stuff in the past, right?
Yeah. I have watched episodes of Dragon Ball Z. I have watched clips of movies. I wouldn't ever say that I've ever faithfully watched an anime for any length of time. I think maybe Dragon Ball Z was the closest I came to that, only because it was on Toonami, and every day I'd come home from work and it'd be on Toonami, so I would watch, the episode, and then maybe there was multiple episodes in a row. That's about the extent of it. I know about a lot of these shows because I have a brother who kind of makes me watch things whenever I go over to see him, and then introduces me to stuff, and we'll talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm always overhearing conversations about different anime properties from people I work with, and occasionally I'm like, what? Like I hear like plot points being discussed. I'm like, all right, wait, hold on, time out. What are you talking about? What is this show? So like, the guy just kills people with one punch? Like what? Huh? And they're like, yeah, he looks
Yeah.
just like you. You should totally watch it. And so
You should.
so
It is a good show.
and that was, I mean, One Punch Man was the first anime that I like tried to watch. And I just only got a few episodes in and then gave up on it. Not necessarily because of anything, like any fault with the property itself, like with the content. I just kind of got distracted. Although I think the people I was talking to were like, you gotta watch the subtitle version. Don't watch the dubs or something like that. And I don't know, it may have been that or maybe been something else. And I think for me that was like really, I'm sorry. I gotta do the dubs.
You don't like subtitles.
It's not that I don't
I
like
get it.
subtitles.
You don't like reading. You want to watch. You don't want to read.
This is the episode where I tell everyone I don't know how to read. Yeah, I usually have subtitles on just when I'm watching like regular TV, but for some reason, like, that's more of like supplement because like I'm getting old and I'm like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? But I still don't like to depend on the subtitles because then I feel like I'm reading the whole time and not like as invested in what's going on in the show. And so when I can't understand what they're saying, then I'm like, all right. Like, yeah, I get like the acting can sometimes be better in the original subbed version, but I'm like, I just get emotion. Brandon seems very confused about what's happening in the area around him.
There's a tree near my window on the second story, and there's a bird. And there's a bird just having its way with itself.
It's a new mascot on the podcast.
Outside my window.
Good old Cali bird, the California parrot.
I can hear it. Can you hear it on the phone?
I can, especially when you pause to talk about it. That especially helps.
There it is, the Apathetic Enthusiasm bird, brought to you by nature.
Topo Chico, the unofficial sponsor of Apathetic Enthusiasm.
And In-N-Out.
Oh, if only we could get that In-N-Out money. Jeez.
Oh man, sweet money. So okay, all right. So you avoided anime because you don't like watching subtitles. No, I get you.
It was more that I just kind of
you hated it, right? No, I get that. But we're talking about how you've made a migration into watching some anime.
Yes.
A specific series. Tell us about that, Travis.
Okay, so this was sort of the topic we wanted to talk about. And I think my daughter Allie might actually be watching the stream right now because we are talking about this. Go ahead, don't forget to like and follow. Say hi in the chat if you're
hit that button.
So she started watching a show called My Hero Academia, and she asked me, she's like, "Is this a show that I can watch?" I was like, I think so. Yeah, it seems fine. Like, just a bunch of kids doing superhero stuff, and so she started watching it, and within like the first like half of a season, she's like, "This is super good." She started watching it while we were moving, like in the process of moving. So we were like on these long road trips, and she's just like eating the show up, and yeah, so I was like, all right, I'll check it out. Like, the premise is pretty straightforward. It's a society where pretty much everybody is born with some sort of ability, right? Some of them are like make them like superheroes. Some of them are like sort of innocuous powers. So they call them quirks in the show, and everybody has a different quirk. And because of this, it has developed into a society where there are villains who use their quirks for nefarious purposes, and of course there are heroes who defend the city for fame and fortune. And so the show follows a group of teenagers who are going to UA High School. I don't know what UA stands for. It's the high school that it's the Hero Academia High School. I don't know.
United Artists.
Yeah.
High School.
Exactly. And so they're going to this high school to learn how to become heroes. And the first season, I'm gonna be honest, I was like, I'm gonna watch it with my kid because I love the kid, and she likes it. It's got some good stuff, but I'm like, it's a little. And now I'm like in season 3, and I'm like, this show's pretty good. I'm at the point now where I'm like, I'm not waiting for her to be like, hey Dad, let's watch more of the show. I'm like, I kind of want to watch more of the show.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? You doing homework? Or you have time to watch the show?
We don't need homework.
I love that you're in season 3 and you still don't know what UA stands for.
It's United Artists. Yeah.
That's the key mystery of this whole series, and you still don't know what it is. It's basically it's like Lost, right? Like it's like UA. What does UA mean?
Brandon,
polar bears. What do they mean?
I think it's in Japanese. I think UA might be in Japanese.
Ultimate Academy.
UA in.
You're looking it up right now. That's good. I can't look it up right now. My phone is
it means
my internet.
The high school.
Oh
no, it doesn't. I just bad at Googling. The answer is very simple. Their name is UA because it's a school for heroes. If you learn a little bit of Japanese, you'll get it. The alphabet word UA is a simplified pronunciation of UE or something, which I think means hero or something. So yeah, it's Japanese. It's Japanese for like hero.
All right, yeah, that makes sense. So you're in season 3. There's no polar bears like in Lost.
No.
And you enjoy the show. You enjoy the show now. What shifted in the show from season 1 to season 3 that really like morphed your opinion of the show? Because I'll say my brother said that like maybe like at the start of season 3 they started introducing like class A and class B again. And he's like, why are they reintroducing characters that we already know? That was his only
I will
critique.
say, like, the very start of season 3, they do like a couple recap episodes where they're like, "Here's all the characters. Here's what their quirks are. Here's what they're like." People aren't binge watching it, and I don't know. Maybe you aren't. Like, the show is still on. It's still coming out. I think it's in its 5th season now. But I the first season seemed to mostly follow one specific character, like the main character of the show. His name is Izuku Midoriya, or Deku is his hero name. But yeah, like he's like kind of like sad because he's like always longed to be a hero, but he was born without a quirk, so he didn't really have a power. And then through a series of events, he is given a power, and is able to then emulate his favorite hero, and so then he gets accepted into this high school, and then the show kind of takes off from there about how what they have to do to get into the high school and things like that. But early on, like, mostly focused on him, I was just kind of like, all right, like there was a lot. There's like a lot of development on this one character, and I was like, he seems kind of like sad like all the time, like but like he develops he develops throughout the course of the season to where I'm like, okay, like he's got some redeeming qualities for sure.
Which is kind of the joke about him, even in like episode 3 when All Might or whatever, all for one,
the number one hero, All Might.
Tells him to stop crying. I was like, why are you crying so much? Like early on. So that's part of the gag with him. And I guess over the course of the season, I could get grating eventually. Like, stop crying already.
Yeah.
But I watched episode 3 and episode 4, and in those I watched episode 4 first with my brother Brett, and then because I had asked him when we started talking about My Hero Academia, I was like, have you watched this show before? He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I stopped watching like season 3 or 4 or whatever. And he's like, and then he went to his Funimation app, whatever it was called, and then we went to the season, and he's like, here, watch. And he explained the characters and the concept of the show, and then he put it on episode 4. And he like skipped ahead in episode 4. It was like midway through episode 4. And then after that, like the next day, I was here in the house by myself. I wanted to fall asleep, and so I put My Hero Academia on. I put it on episode 3 because at the start of episode 4, it talks about something that happened in episode 3. So I'm like, I'll start there.
Yeah.
And then I'll move forward. And I like both episodes. I watched the entirety of episode 4 again because I enjoyed it. And Brett also showed me part of the movie. I guess the My Hero Academia
movie. I didn't even know that there was a movie. So
yeah.
We're just watching it on Hulu, which is crazy because Hulu lists the episodes. It has the subbed and dubbed versions, but it's like they're like one after another. So you basically have to skip like an episode every time, or you could watch it twice in each version if you want to be cool like my kid or something. Like, I don't know. Who was watching and did text me, stop dissing on the subs, they're great, in all caps. So
here's the thing I've noticed, that whole piece with him having nothing and then him all of a sudden being given this massive amount of power, in him joining a culture where all these people have powers already. It was like a common theme in a couple of different episodes, or a couple of different series that my brother was showing me in anime. So one was I forget what it's called exactly, but I think it's something about like I died and became a blob. That's a, that's essentially
classic
the
anime. I died and became a
somebody is if anybody's watching or anybody's listening, tweet us and correct me. But it has something to do with a
all
blob.
the weebs out there. Help us out.
And what it is in this world, when you die, you become reincarnated, and you get to choose what you want to be reincarnated into. So this person dies. They're nothing special, but they want to be reincarnated into like just where they can just absorb knowledge and stuff like that, or something weird like that. So he gets reincarnated as a shapeless blob. And the shapeless blob like absorbs and eats things and becomes more and more powerful. All of a sudden it becomes like the most powerful being in the realm, right? All of a sudden out of nowhere, and how he has to kind of juggle those responsibilities. Yeah. Another show that my brother showed me was Rise of the Shield Warrior or something like that. And what that show is about is this young man gets sucked into a book, and in this book is this world, this like kind of medieval world. And in this medieval world, there are 4 champions. There's a shield, there's a spear, there's a sword, and there's a bow and arrow. And the 3 others, they get pulled from their world from a video game. And so now they have to protect the kingdom, right? Well, it's almost like a D&D / role-playing game world, where in order to strengthen those weapons, they have to kill monsters. So they have to kill balloons and stuff like that to gain XP, and then it eventually builds up their weapons, which is kind of a cool thing. But the thing with the shield champion is that he's by nature a defensive champion. It's not a weapon; it's a shield.
Yeah.
And so it's more difficult for him to level up, and then he gets ostracized by the kingdom for something. So he has to go out on his own. But again, it's like another thing. Like it's this one person all of a sudden gets really powerful. Was not special in any way. Now he has to deal with this world that just kind of like is alien to him.
Yeah.
It's just a very it's interesting that it's a kind of common trope.
I'm wondering if there's something in Japanese culture, and I'm sure this has been studied relentlessly, just not by us, where that causes that to be a reoccurring theme in their art, where they're talking about stories like that and sharing that type of stuff. I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I've got my bookshelf up back there, and although I don't have my glasses on, I just saw Akira Kurosawa, the director of Seven Samurai and stuff like that. And even that being even the Japanese cinema back in the day, kind of heavily focused on the outsiders.
Yeah.
And so I wonder what that is. I wonder what that is. But I'm not. Yeah. We're not researchers of that.
The pros on that.
We're definitely new anime people.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I will say, if you're even loosely interested in it, give it a shot. Keep checking back in with the show. The second season is when the class 1A, and the whole high school really, they compete in this hero challenge thing. It's like a big sports festival that it's sort of like an Olympics for this world where everybody has different quirks. And that was really cool because it focused on more of the ensemble cast and all of the different characters, and there's a lot more character development with the different characters, and you get to learn more about their individual quirks and how they can use them together and things like that. And so that to me I thought was really cool. I got pretty invested in that. And then also there's this whole other plot where you get to learn more about the villains in this world and what sort of motivates them. and there's some really interesting characters there too. So yeah, I don't know. It's tearing down the walls of my aversion to anime, and it's like opening up my eyes to like, okay, like yeah, some of the visual styles are a little intense and extreme at times, but it's a gimmick, just like any other style. Like there's just things that are characteristic to it, and but there is some phenomenal artwork at times, and sometimes it's a little cringy, but it's fine. It is what it is. We do a Rick and Morty podcast. Like who am I to judge?
Who are we? Who are we to play God? There is a I forget which YouTube channel it is, but they talk about the videos I watched from them were talking more about like stunt work and visual effects and stuff like that. And they had somebody from Disney Animation on, and they were to talk about like anime, breaking down anime scenes, and just the animation style that goes into anime, like especially like action scenes. And the guy was saying it's a lot more about like energy and flowing in combat, where like you just have a picture of a hand, and it's a very simple picture of a hand, and the hand's not really doing anything, but it's all the background movement and just like motion lines that are part of the outline of the hand that give it this kind of extra energy and extra flow. And it was just really interesting to hear that and then focus on it and be like, yeah, you're right. Like if Goku, Dragon Ball Z is charging up Super Saiyan, he's not really moving, but all the lines around him are moving, and that's where they get that illusion of emotion. Yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty cool. So yeah, I'll keep watching it. I'll keep watching it with my kid. My son has gotten pretty into it too as we've been watching it. So it's something we do together right now. So it's good. What about you? What are you doing with your kid?
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. What am I doing? It's interesting. You watch anime with your kids about kids going to school and growing up and learning things. I sit in the dark with my son and my wife, and we play Resident Evil Village. That's what we do in our spare time.
It's just two sides of the same coin.
It's either watch Joe Bob, Maniac Cop, and Maniac Cop 2 were on this last week. Maniac Cop 1 stars Bruce Campbell, the Chin himself. But okay, well, we're not talking about Resident Evil Village. Let's talk about this. I know you don't play horror games. I barely play horror games. The last horror game I played, I think I bought Silent Hill 2, and I was playing. It's before my kid was born. It was just me and Chelsea in the living room. I started playing in the dark, and she fell asleep, and then she went to bed, and it was just me. And I was like looking around, and like, I don't want to play this anymore.
I will say, playing like the original BioShock by myself in the dark, I was like, this is pushing my limits. Like, Sheena still gives me a hard time about like how careful I was playing through BioShock and being like, those mannequins are creepy.
Yeah. Because inevitably there's going to be a jump scare, and these monsters are going to come after you. And it's one thing when you're watching a movie and like the jump scare happens and you're like, aha, oh, you got me. And then you cross your arms again and you watch the rest of something that's happening to a different character that you have no control over.
Yes.
When you're playing a game and you're creeping down a hallway and then there's a jump scare and then you're like, I don't want to creep down this hallway anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That definitely, like, there's something so much more intense, I feel, about a horror video game, or like just because of that immersion, where like it's harder to separate yourself from what's happening on the screen because you feel more a part of it because you are like controlling a character in the environment. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some people on Twitter saying the reverse. They're like, you can't handle jump scares in movies, but video games, no problem. Which it's I don't understand that necessarily. But so last night, well, this weekend I bought Resident Evil Village because I was like, I don't have internet. Let me go ahead and get a game to play that it doesn't require internet. Which, by the way, it does because you have to download the update. Because in this day and age,
Because
there's
it's
always a day one update.
2021, and no video game can just be purchased off the shelf without internet access anymore.
Yeah. So if you are a Cox subscriber and can find my Cox public Wi-Fi hotspot, then you might be able to hack into my Xbox. Just saying.
Get gigablasted.
Get gigablasted. So I bought Resident Evil. I played it a little bit that night. And you know, I was drinking, but then I was also I also had coffee, which was random. And then playing this game, which I get motion sick anyways when I'm playing kind of first person shooters. I didn't get very far. I was like, oh, scary things are happening. Also, I want to throw up. I just need a save point. You know. Yeah, and yesterday, the kid, the wife, they went to the in-laws for a bit, and they came home. And then at nighttime, I was like, "Hey, kid, let's go play this game. Let's go watch me play this game." And so he came down. Everybody sat on the couch, and then I was like, "He's like, is it gonna be scary? Like, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know." We started playing the first like 10, 15 minutes or so. He's like, well, this isn't that scary. This game isn't that scary. It's dark in my house. All of a sudden, like I'm in like a dungeon area, and this monster gets up, and it's just got this gigantic, long, like machete type thing, and it's just like coming out of like the blackness of this dungeon. I shoot it. He's like, okay, it's getting a little creepy now. But it ended up being fun because eventually, like, even though it was creepy, he sat there, Chelsea sat there, and it was a nice time just hanging out there, them helping me solve puzzles. And talking about that initial fear, you start to get desensitized to things when you realize, okay, this monster, it only takes 5 shots of a pistol in the head to kill it. Okay. So next time it shows up, you're like, pop, 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 pop. All right, well, until you meet another monster.
To gun violence again. Here I go. Yeah.
Here I go. Until you meet another monster that pops up out of nowhere and has like a different ability, and you're like, oh god! Ah!
This one has a machete in its right hand. Yeah. So here's what I want to know, because all of the social media chatter, everything I've seen about this game revolves around this giant woman. All I want to do is see you turn into a giant woman. A giant woman.
Giant. That's all you need? Yeah. Got it. Check.
Yeah. What is going on with this? Have you encountered said woman? What is happening? Why? Please add context to this thing that I will never actually interact with.
Sure.
But seems to be sweeping the internet by storm.
Sure. That is Lady Dimitrescu or something like that. Basically, the main character of this game is Ethan Winters. And he was the protagonist for Resident Evil 7, which I forget what was actually called, Biohazard. And so he's the protagonist again for this one. The events from Resident Evil 7 lead him and his wife and his daughter, Rose, to be kind of relocated to this village in like a European village, right? Okay. Stuff happens. His family is taken away from him. Now he's in this village, and this village is kind of being overrun by monsters. There's werewolves. There's this other lady, and there's a couple other different factions, right? Well, this lady is like kind of the head of vampires. So there's werewolves and there's vampires, and there's other monsters too. But specifically, the vampires for her. This huge lady is the head of the vampires, and she has vampire daughters essentially. And yes, you do. I have met her. She is huge. She is frightening when this gigantic lady is chasing, and she has like very, very sharp claws. And she will just slowly walk towards you when she sees you and kind of chase you through the house. Okay. And there's not really any place to hide. You just got to run from her until you are able to defeat her in ways I won't tell you yet.
Yeah, no spoilers. Well, I appreciate that context. Thank you for sharing that. And hopefully anything. I don't know, anything else to say about the game? You want to rate it? Do you want to give it a star rating? I don't know.
I am excited to keep playing it, and I will beat it. I feel like this will be my first Resident Evil game since Resident Evil 5, or maybe Resident Evil 5 that I will have played through. Resident Evil 5 was there was some horror aspect to it, but it was much more of a like action based Resident Evil game, so it wasn't as scary. Kind of like an Aliens versus Alien. If that makes sense. Right. I feel like that
everybody
gets
that. Every chat, you get that? Okay, perfect. Well, I did want to talk a little bit about this Eternals teaser, but I don't know. Have you actually watched it yet?
I didn't watch it.
We will watch the Eternals trailer together in the post show. Where we hang out for a little bit with those, because we can't get demonetized on YouTube if we just stream it on Twitch. So with the few moments that we have remaining, Brandon, you had the opportunity to sit in on a D&D game with your brother and his brothers, his friends. You're back kicking it in the hometown. Reacclimating yourself to that LA lifestyle, and obviously the first thing you do is go play D&D. How did it go?
It went pretty well. So my brother Brett, his friend Mies, they call him Mies. He DM'd, and it was a one shot, and it was D&D, the mechanics of D&D, but the one shot was set against like kind of like a modern superhero theme. And so each of the players was meant to like kind of customize their character and build their backstory in a superhero way. And we're ended up being like the C-list superheroes of this world. So I created a character who he was like a chemist. He mixed a bunch of stuff. And he unleashed a kind of demon using these things, and it ended up turning him into like a deformed type of bird thing.
Some bird person.
Yeah. I thought about naming him a bird person, and I was like, no, that's too on the nose. It's not meant to be a bird,
beak, if you will.
Yeah. And so he was a bird thing. A couple others there, one was kind of modeled after Deadpool. Another one was kind of like a robot. Another one was this world's like Nightwing type of thing. Okay. My brother played as Dr. Phil. He had like super high charisma
of daytime television's Dr. Phil.
yeah, of daytime television's Dr. Phil. He had super high charisma, super high abilities in order to persuade everything. And his whole thing, his whole thing was he wanted to talk superheroes and supervillains down from and de-escalate conflict. And
they're like, catch me outside. How about that?
Yeah. I don't want to try to mimic Dr. Phil's voice, but my brother does a spectacular Dr. Phil, not just with the voice, but like the things he says. Like it's obvious that he has watched far too much Dr. Phil in daytime television, because it just has like some of those lines just down perfectly.
So you're bird person.
Uh-huh.
What sort of like characters
Bird thing.
rule bird thing? What kind of like rule set or like class were you necromancer like?
No, no, he was just a monk
Okay.
slash ranger. Just kind of because his whole thing was he became kind of a recluse, and then wants to put the demon who he released back in its prison or whatever. I don't know. I didn't think about that. We didn't get too far into our individual backstories because what we ended up doing was the end of the session. Like, well, at the start we fought a gigantic robot, and the robot wasn't a robot. It was Trademark Man, and Trademark Man had the ability to he just trademarked just a ton of stuff, and so if people copied him, then he would sue them. that was the kind of thing. But he could also like transform into a bunch of different things. And so we fought that off, and then he dropped the safe, and in that safe there was like a clue to like a council of evil people, essentially. We went on our adventure. We went to like a weird sex club. There was like a god that showed his dong, and then everybody wanted to like it was kind of weird. And it was like not weird like that. Like we're like, whatever, doesn't matter. And then eventually we got to the League of Evil People, and they're in like a top floor of a YMCA. So we go in, and then we fight the evil people, and then we were victorious. I was the only person who got knocked out. That was great. It was really good. The funniest thing that I don't know these. I didn't know these folks. It was all physical. We're all in the same little area. We were outside, and I'd met most of them before, but it's still just reintroducing yourself and not knowing exactly how to interact with folks yet. And so about 30 minutes into it, after we defeated the robot, we went to this world's like Bruce Wayne's house, right? Wayne Manor. And in it, it belonged to Lord Sirius or whatever, right? And so the butler came up to the group of us, and he was like, Sir Sirius wants you to come here. And then I said, why, Sir Sirius? and the DM's like, what do you mean, why, sir? And then Brett started cracking up, and he's like, oh, you really are your Brett's brother. Got it.
and then you tipped your hat and
tipped my hat
and walked out
and knocked everything off the table. One of the arch villains was named the Match, and we saw him at the very end. But before that, one of the characters was like, we need to find the Match, and I was like, where have you looked? And he's like, I've looked here, I've searched here. I said, well, have you checked his website? Like, what are you talking about, his website? Match.com. and then they all rolled their eyes, and I laughed, and Brett laughed, and we shared a giggle at the expense of the table.
There you go. Classic.
It's fun.
Classic Brandon D&D fashion. Yeah. Well, that sounds good. I'm going to try to mask my envy of you continuing to play D&D without me. I guess I should go find new friends and find a party of my own.
Well, you don't have to, right? Because I talked to John. John DMs once a week for 3 or 4 hours, but John also doesn't have a family, so John is more willing to. John is willing, ready, and able to DM for us once we give him that go ahead. So our thing is we just I need Gigablast internet.
Gotta get that blast.
First things first. Get me that Gigablast.
Gotta get blasted.
And then coordinate with Kevin, who is doing. I think he's working on some retirement type of stuff. And then get your schedule, coordinate with them all, and then John is just going to build the campaign, and he's already got lots of ideas. So he's ready for us. We got to give him something and tell him we're ready.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I look forward to when everybody else is ready. I'm just here in my closet. I'm ready to go whenever. I just sit here all the time. This is all I do, guys. So should be fun. Maybe we can record some of it. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring some of the old folks that have joined in the past. Maybe cycle some of those others in. Now that they're get in the same state as Brett, you can just force it and be like, "Hey, come over for dinner," and then you just have like D&D set up and be like, "Oops."
"Oh, it's not even about forcing him. He's like, yeah, now that you're here, I can just stay the night at your house, and we'll either play D&D or League of Legends."
There you go. Either way. Well, that about does it for this episode. I want to give a special shout out to Flagogle21, who was watching. I think they may have subscribed on Twitch. So
whoa,
thank you, Flagogle, for the sub and for watching. If you're listening to the audio portion, share with all your friends and be like, check it out. I got a shout out. That's me. I'm Flagogle. And if you're not Flagogle, share it anyway. Share it with the people that you love. We are headed now to the stream exclusive post show. We're going to talk a little bit Eternals teaser trailer, as well as whatever else comes to mind before we pass out, because we started an hour late. Brandon's like, it's 2 in the afternoon. What are you talking about? I don't know how time zones work. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for liking, subscribing, doing all those things that you do. Until next time, I'm Travis.
And I am Brandon. Thank you for listening.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.